Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, we are not done. You get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-get energy that moves all of us out there, including you, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And we take all of these elements, we put them together into one gumbo, one bundle, one package. This mindset, a philosophy. I wrote a book about the subject. You're listening to the daily masterclass that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to strategize properly. Now, we touched on this a little bit in yesterday's episode where I talked about strategy versus tactics and thinking long-term and creating long-term results when you are considering what looks and feels good in your life versus what actually produces results in your life. So talking about strategizing properly, first of all, I'm going to give credit to a guy by the name of Alex Sharfin, a business strategist, for this concept. He's the person that I first heard share this concept, so I'm giving him credit, and from now on, I'm going to use it as if I made it up. So think of, and this is the way that Alex lays it out when he explains it. He says, think of one of your most proud accomplishments in your life. So this is what I want you to actually do. Think about something in your life that was a huge accomplishment, something that you're really proud of, something that someone asks you, what is one of the greatest achievements in your life? This is the thing that would come to mind. This is one of the things that you would mention. All right, you got it? I'm giving you a minute to think about what is that? What is that great accomplishment? Something you achieved that you are proud of that was and maybe still is a big deal to you that you did it. All right, you got that in your mind? What you're going to notice as we get through today's topic is that accomplishment of yours featured prominently all three of the elements that I'm going to lay out here in today's class. And it was one of your best achievements, which means if you want to recreate a great achievement in your life, you need to strategize and have these three elements present again, because they were present when you achieved your greatest accomplishment. They need to be present in this accomplishment. And I want you to understand that I am talking about a causation, not just a simple correlation, because there could be a lot of things that were present when you got your greatest accomplishment. It might have been a rainy day. It doesn't mean that if it rains again, you're going to be successful. Or it might have been, you might have been eating some candy like we talked about yesterday. Doesn't mean if every time you eat candy, something great's going to happen. I'm not talking about a correlation. They just happen to happen at the same time. I'm talking about a causation. One thing occurred because the other thing occurred. So the three elements I'm going to lay out here today in today's framework, these three elements caused your greatest accomplishment. They are not just correlated. They are the reason why it happened. And as I get through them, you'll understand exactly how and why. So let's get into it. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is how to strategize properly. The number one element that is present in any great accomplishment, any accomplishment of significance that occurs in this world, one element that is always present is that there is a clear outcome to be achieved. A clear outcome means a specific target that everyone and anyone can not only see it, but they can understand what it is. In other words, when you were going after your greatest accomplishment in your life, if someone asked you, hey, what are you working on right now? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do? You could have answered to that person and told them specifically what you were trying to do in such a way that even if they knew nothing about it or how to do it or anything, they could 100% clearly understand what you were going after. They could explain your outcome to anyone else as easily as you explained it to them. A clear outcome, ladies and gentlemen. Clear outcome means anybody can get it. It means a caveman could do it. A blind person can see it. A dumb person can understand it. That's what a clear outcome means. A specific target that anyone and everyone can see and understand what it is. Your greatest accomplishment or accomplishments, period, they were probably not accidents, were they? The greatest thing you've ever achieved in your life, did you achieve it by accident, or were you actually going after it consciously? Were you purposely going after it? You probably knew exactly what you were aiming for. You knew what it would look like to reach it. It was a very clear outcome for you. There was no ambiguity whatsoever. And understand that every effective strategy in life must have a clear outcome. Anytime someone achieves a strategy clearly, or they achieve a strategy fully. They employ a strategy fully, and it is fully effective. That's the best way to say it. It must have a clear outcome. When you see or feel your energy being utilized and noise being made, you always have to ask yourself the question, what is the clear outcome? When I was striving to start my professional basketball career, I had a clear outcome. The clear outcome was I want to sign a professional basketball contract. That was my clear outcome. I knew that I had achieved my outcome when I would sign my first contract. When I was first on a plane, when I was first on a team, sign the contract, that would be achievement of the strategy that I was after. So what is your clear outcome? Where are you trying to go? These are questions I'm asking you right now. Where are you trying to go? What are you looking to accomplish? What is the clear outcome? What is the goal? What is the target? What is the aim? What is the result of the actions that you're taking right now? What result do you want to be produced? And I want to be very clear with you on this. The result that you say you want to produce, that result needs to be clear in such a way that when you've achieved it, there is no question that you have achieved it. And if you have not achieved it, there's no question about whether you have not achieved it. So for example, I remember I was speaking to some high school students once. And after I was done speaking, I was speaking to one of the kids. He said he was a basketball player. Since he knew I was a basketball player, he wanted to share some stuff with me. And he said his goal in basketball was to become, he said, in the next 6 months, I want to become an excellent basketball player. That's the exact verbiage that he used. And I challenged him on that. And I said, well, what do you mean by excellent basketball player? How do you measure that? And he didn't have an answer to the question. I said, your aim in basketball can be to be excellent, but you need to make it very clear what it means to be excellent so that when you get there, you know that you got there. And if you're not there yet, you'll know how close you are. So for example, you can say I want to be an excellent basketball player, comma, which means, colon, I am averaging at least 15 points a game, at least 8 rebounds a game. I'm a starter on my high school basketball team. I have at least 2 college scholarship offers. My team has a winning record at this point in the season. All of those things are what could constitute being an excellent basketball player, but there needs to be something that you can look at and say, I have achieved this or I have not yet achieved this. And understand that clear outcome doesn't necessarily have to be a numbers thing. It could be something like there is clearer communication between me and this person. And that's something that you and that person can agree on. Is our communication more clear now than it was before? If you both can clearly say yes, then you can say check. All right, we have achieved our outcome. Now we got to make sure we maintain it. But the most important thing, again, a very clear outcome. There can be no ambiguity. Oftentimes there's a lot of ambiguity in the goals that people lay out for themselves, such as this kid who said he wanted to become an excellent basketball player. Again, I still to this day don't know what an excellent basketball player looks like. But when I helped him and told him that you need to put some things that are more measurable and more specific into your outcome, then it'll be a whole lot easier to reach it, because then you'll know that you've reached it. You'll never know if you've become an excellent basketball player. Who's the judge? Do you need somebody to say it? Do you need to be able to say it to yourself? What is it that's going to make you know that you have actually achieved this outcome? So whatever you're going to do in life, your greatest accomplishment, you must be 1,000% clear on what the outcome is. Unambiguous. Anyone can understand it. Even people who aren't on the inside of what you have going on should clearly understand what the outcome is if you were so inclined to share it with them. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to strategize properly. Second thing that's going to be present in any great accomplishments, and it was present in your greatest accomplishment in life, you had clear milestones along the way. What is a milestone on a project? A milestone is anything that will allow you to know that you are getting closer to the end goal. That's a milestone. So what are the checkpoints along the way? Same thing, same concept. When I talk about working backwards towards goals, what do I always say? What's the question that I always present to you that you need to use? The question is, what would need to be true for this to happen? So for example, if I said I want to become let's say this player, he said he wanted to become an excellent basketball player. What needs to be true for you to be an excellent basketball player? He would say, all right, I need to be a starter on my high school team for at least half of the season. He would say I need to have at least 2 college basketball scholarship offers by the end of the season. He might say, I feel a lot more comfortable dribbling the ball and breaking defenders down off the bounce when I'm handling the ball. That would be another clear milestone along the way, another checkpoint along the way. So when I talk about working backwards toward goals, I would often say, what would need to be true for this to happen? What would need to occur for this to happen? And for that to happen, working backwards to the current location. So this player says, excellent basketball player. I want to average 18 points a game. All right, how many points did you average this past season? He might say I averaged 2 points a game because I was sitting on the bench. All right, how do you go from 2 points a game to 18 points a game? You're probably going to need to be on the court more often. You're probably going to need to take more field goal attempts. You're probably going to need to be a better, let's say, 3-point shooter. You're probably going to need to be a better free throw shooter, so you make sure you make the most of every free point opportunity that you get. Maybe you get better on defense. You get a steal or two every game, and each steal will give you a clear path to the basket for an easy 2 points, get you closer to that 18. So what are the checkpoints along the way, working backwards from the goal to your current location? So my goal was to become a professional basketball player. And where I was at the time was a college graduate who had skills, but I didn't have anything else. I didn't have any information, no connections, no nothing. How do I make this happen? Well, let's work backwards from the goal. In order for me to sign a pro basketball contract, a team, professional team, has to be interested in me. For a team to be, so that's one milestone. For a team to be interested, they have to actually be hearing my name, probably from someone who they know, like, and trust. So that's another milestone. Then, in order for someone that the team knows, likes, and trusts to be even mentioning my name, that person would probably have to be my agent. So that's another milestone. I have an agent. Then, in order for me to have an agent, I'll probably need to reach out to some agents because I don't have any agents reaching out to me. I need to reach out to them and sell myself. That's another milestone. In order for me to reach out to them and sell myself, then I'm probably going to need some game footage since I don't have any. Let me go to an exposure camp, play at the exposure camp, get the scouting report, and get the footage. So that was another milestone. So you see how all these milestones are laid out? All you have to do is look at where you want to get to and then work backwards by asking yourself the following question. What would need to be true for that to happen? What would need to be true for that to happen? What would need to be true for that to happen? Each one of those answers becomes a checkpoint in your strategy. Again, so for me, trying to play basketball overseas, my checkpoints were working backwards, sign a contract, get a team interested, have an agent who is willing to market and promote me, sign with an agent, get some game footage to send to an agent, send my game footage to agents. Those could be combined or one could be in front of the other. Go to an exposure camp and actually play there, save up some money so I can go to an exposure camp. So that was kind of the first step. I needed to save up my money so that when exposure camp time came around, I would actually be able to take advantage. But notice all the milestones along the way. What do milestones do? Milestones, first of all, serve as checkpoints so you and anyone else who is involved in your long-term project, they know that they're involved. They know what's going on, and they know when you've hit a certain milestone and when you haven't. You can celebrate it with them. You can let them know I've hit a certain milestone in this whole thing that I got going on. All these things, you know what milestones do? They let you know that you're on the right track. They let you know that you're following the right path. They let you know that you are maybe somewhat almost to the desired outcome. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to strategize properly. Point number 3, you got to have accountability. So we got the clear outcome. Then you have the milestones along the way. Then you got to have clear accountability. In other words, for accountability, the question is, who is responsible for what? Now, when I was looking to get my basketball career started, I was responsible for damn near all of it. The only person who became responsible for anything was the agent that I signed with. He became responsible for doing some marketing for me, but I was still doing it myself. And even if you have a team working together in your company organization, everyone in your team should own a certain aspect of the process. If you run a business that sells cars, for example, someone on your team should be running the accounting process. Someone runs the sales process. Someone runs the managers of the managers process. Someone handles the maintenance workers. Someone handles cleaning up the bathrooms. Whatever is going on, whatever kind of business you have going on, ask yourself who is going to be accountable for what. Everybody owns certain parts of the process. So if everybody who has ownership handles the part of ownership that they're supposed to be handling, that's when a plan comes together. This is how a plan is made. It's not just a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. There is a clear accountability for everyone. Everyone knows who's in charge of what. So if something's not working in a certain area, you don't have to go over there and go through the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb and try to figure out who's who and what's what and who's messing up and who's not. All you need to do is go to the person in charge, go to the person who has all the accountability for what's going on. Maybe it's going to be you, and they're going to tell you what's going on. They can show you what's going on. They can show you who's in charge of that thing. And if it happens to be them, you can tell them, look, something's going wrong in your department. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And it may not be them personally who's making the mistake. Maybe it's somebody who works in the department, but that person who is in charge, the accountability individual, they may not have known about it. But now that they know, now they're accountable for it. Now they got to do something for it. Now they got to do something about it. So I was damn near responsible for everything. Any of you who's in a solo situation right now, you're going to be responsible for everything, at least at first, when you begin a process. All right, everything is on you. You are accountable for everything that you have to be doing. And anyway, you're a CEO of your own company, so you should be used to being accountable for anything that you do or anything that you have going on in your life. But a plan is made when everyone within the group decides to handle their part, not be a minion, and actually take ownership of what they have going on. You got to ask yourself, are you this type of person? Are you actually doing this, or are you making excuses? Let's recap today's class, which is how to strategize properly. Again, you must think of your most profound or most proud accomplishments in life and notice that they contain all three of the following elements. Number one, they contain a clear outcome, a specific target that everyone can see and everyone can understand exactly what it is. When you think of one of your best accomplishments in life, it was not achieved by accident. You knew exactly what you were aiming for and you knew exactly how to reach it. There was no ambiguity, and understand that every effective strategy in life must have a clear outcome. Not a I'm not sure outcome, not a murky outcome, but a clear outcome. Whenever you see or feel energy being utilized and noise being made, ask yourself, of those people or that person, what is the outcome? If the outcome is not clear, if the outcome is ambiguous and no one can quite understand what you're saying, even those who aren't on the inside will not understand it if the outcome is not clear. Point number two, milestones along the way. These are things that let you know you are getting closer to the goal. So what are the checkpoints along the way for you? For me, it was signing with an agent and getting some game film and getting the team interested in me. Those are all checkpoints along the way. And there were several other checkpoints, but the checkpoints are, you got to know that what you're doing is actually producing a result somewhere along the way before you get to the point at the end where then you finally figure out that it was working. Sometimes you need some reminders along the way. That is the whole purpose of a milestone. Any goal that you want to reach in life, just work backwards. In order for me to reach that goal, what would have to be true? That is not true right now. What else would have to be true? What else would have to be true? What else would have to be true? If you keep asking the question, the answers will supply themselves, but you got to be willing, bold enough, and confident enough to ask yourself the question, what would need to be true in order for me to achieve this outcome? When I was playing ball, my goal was to get a contract, and I told you all the checkpoints: get a video, get an agent, get a team to consider me. All these things, when they were happening, told me I was on the right track. Point number three, you need clear accountability. Who was responsible for what? I was responsible for damn near everything when I was trying to get myself started in the sports world and in the business world. But even if you have a team working for you, you would make sure everyone has some ownership, or each part of the plan, someone has ownership of that part of the plan. Even if there are other people within it, understand that you as the owner of it are responsible for everybody doing their thing. So if I put you in charge of the social media department and you have 3 people working for you, under you in the social media department, and one of them has a task that they failed to do, it is your job as the owner of that task to make sure you hold them accountable and make sure they get done what they're supposed to get done. Because if I look at it as a CEO and see that things aren't working right, I'm not firing the people who are underneath the person who failed in accountability. I'm getting rid of the person who failed in accountability, the person who failed to hold everyone in their group accountable, failed to make sure everybody did their job. Now I got to get rid of you because I can't have someone who won't call people out and who won't do their job. You got to go. If everybody who has ownership works like you have a job, then a plan comes together. It's not just a whole bunch of sound and fury that signifies absolutely nothing. So if you want to learn how to strategize in life, just rewind this class that I just told you how to do it. Work on your game. Dre all day.